morning, people.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. My name is Brittany Carr. A lot of you know me, some of you don't. I'll just basically give my little 2-minute story. So I have been involved in and around WFG for quite a while. I started back in 2006 when I was about 20 years old. Started in the business, working my way up the ranks just like everyone else does. I got really, really sick a few years into doing the business, and so I had to step away for a while, a couple years. I just had to stop everything that I was doing. So there's my little sob story. After a while, after I got better and I was ready to work again, I wanted to come back to the business, but I wasn't quite ready yet. And so I ended up getting offered the chance to work with Jamie and Sean as their executive assistant / base shop coordinator. / part-time babysitter, what have you. So I was wearing a lot of different hats, but I came back in the business just because I love the environment so much, and I was ready to just get back in there and do anything. And I wanted to work with them. So that turned into a few years of being kind of behind the scenes, running a large base shop with them, and I had a blast doing that. And that kind of spiraled into what BSC Pro is today, because it just took years of me being in the business and also being a base shop coordinator, so learning the business from the ground up, and we're getting to work with executives, so seeing the business from a kind of an eagle's eye type view of how to run a large hierarchy. All of that I learned over the years kind of helped me, inspired me to make BSC Pro. So that's kind of what is really behind it. What drives me is just to make your guys' lives easier. Like as a base shop coordinator, there was, 50, 60 people in the base shop, maybe? More than that at the time when I was running it. So it was just fully cranking all the time. A lot of business coming through, a lot of recruits coming through, a lot of stuff. So there was like a lot of them and one of me trying to do my job. And it just was a lot. And so I wish I would have had this when I was a base shop coordinator. But now you guys have it available to you. So today, I'm going to go over the app. Just so you know how to use that and what the basic functions of it are, because we have a companion app that goes along with the full website, and I'm going to go over some of the basic stuff on the website, the stuff that's going to help you get paid, basically. So and how to use that properly. So and then if you have questions that are kind of like the question you asked, like really, really specific, save those till the end, and I'll answer those after the webinar's over. Okay? Ready?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the dashboard. So everybody, no matter what level you are, your dashboard will look a little different depending on your level. This is my admin account, so I have a lot going on here. But most of you guys will all have like how many you have on your captain's list, how many you have on your speed filters, how much you have in production, your associate attendants. It's really only you or maybe you're a couple guys that you have on your team, which is fine. You'll be able to see the lineup for the week, which only the SMDs can input. So they should be able to they'll be putting in the lineup each week, and then you can log in and see who the trainers are, what they're going to be training on. So that's kind of a cool feature that you can see. Big event registrations, and then your office locator will be right in the middle. But it's not pulling up my office right now, but that's okay. You have to actually be in your proper office and linked up. I took myself off of this office just because I had a lot of data in there that didn't apply to everybody else. So that's fine. So that's your dashboard. So everyone has access to that. So the first thing that I kind of want to go over is your profile. I just want to go over some quick setup features. So when you first create your account, you go to bscpro.com and you just create, there's a big button there that says create an account on the top right, and you just create an account. And put in your real information, because when we send out updates about convention or about any important stuff that's going on with the site, we want you to be able to get the messages. Okay? And then once you create your account, you only have to do that once, by the way. You don't need to create an account through the app and then also create an account online. It's the same, kind of like Facebook. It's the same account. Okay? And then if you forget your password or your login information, there's a forgot password button on the login page. So if you forget any information, you can reset your password. We don't store any passwords for security purposes. We only have your username, and we can give that to you, but you have to reset your password if you forget, okay? So go to professional profile. So the first thing you want to do is just go to your professional profile and make sure everything is set up properly. So just make sure, like after you've created your account, just make sure that your level's right, and make sure you can set your direct upline, put in any licenses that you have, active licenses, so meaning you're already appointed and you can actually write business. Don't put that you're licensed, because people can look you up, so don't put that you're licensed if you're not yet appointed and can't write business yet, okay? The languages that you speak, if you speak a fluent Spanish and you could do an appointment in Spanish, then put that you speak Spanish. We tried to put all the languages we could think of in there, so if we missed one, let us know and we'll change it. Just make sure your email's correct, primary office address, all that stuff. If you're a mapped person, if you're brand new, you probably don't know what that means, so don't worry about it. But if you know that you're mapped and who you're mapped from, go ahead and set that right there. Because when you write business and you put business through the system, and I'll show you what that looks like, it's going to show up on the person you're mapped from, their production tracker. So that's really important. And that's it. And then you click Update Professional Profile on the bottom right. And then that's it. So another thing I want to go over for this is authorized users. So this is for people that, if you're in the business with your spouse, which a lot of people are, or if you have an assistant, you want to add that person, whoever that person is, as an authorized user. And that just means that that person can log into their own account. Let's say you guys are both agents in the business. So like Pam and Jack, you guys are both agents. So let's say you have the primary account. Pam could be an authorized user, so she can log into your account and see kind of what's going on.
Why do you need a special function to do that? Why can't I just know her password and her user ID?
You can. Just some people like to have two separate accounts. Because if you have an assistant, you may not want to give your assistant your login information, because maybe you use the same password and login for your email or for a bank account. Hopefully you're not, but let's just say you are. A lot of people do that. So it's just an added layer of security for yourself. So you don't have to give out your passwords.
Are there things that if you log in as the other person like this, that you can't see everything?
You can see everything. It's just you don't have to give up your password. That's the whole point of that. Just some people need it. Just trust me. Some people need it. So that's all that does. And then at the top right, so I kind of want to show them where you can click on authorized users. Click where it says your name. Now see how it says log in as Jeff Levitan or Brittany O. So that's where you would go, and you can log in as your spouse. Or if your assistant can log into their own account, and they click log in as you, and then they can do whatever they need to do on the account. Does that make sense? But you don't have to give out your password and username. Okay. Moving on. So let's go. I'm going to start right at the top with prospects. So this is where, click on Prospect Tracker. So we're doing a lot with this page, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's really cool. Right now, this is it's pretty basic, but this is where the top 25 feature is going to be. Right now, it's just the top, however many names you can get on there for now. But I would suggest putting your names in there, because once we have the top 25 feature launch, which will be soon, you'll be able to generate top 25s and send them to your upline, which will be really cool. So right now, what you can do is add a name. So you just click add a name. We're not going to add one right now because it'll take a while, but when you get a chance, you can go through here. Go back up to the top a little. Yeah, you just put in the basic info, how you know this person, the occupation, what have you told them about the company so far, kind of the same questions that if you were to hand a prospect to Jamie, she would ask you those same questions. How do you know him? Tell me a little bit about him, blah, blah, blah. We put the same questions in there. And then appointment type. So basically, if you want to send this prospect to someone else to call for you, you would indicate what kind of phone call it is. So do you want this person to invite your guests to BPM? Do you want them to book a one-on-one in the office? Do you want them to book a field training? What is it? You look a little confused.
Well, sometimes you're not really sure, and we've been told, so don't make that decision for them sometimes.
Well, if you're not sure, then that's fine. You can put it in the notes. You can check one-on-one and put any notes that you think that person should know. Like, I'm not really sure, but try and do whatever you can book them for whatever. And that works too. And then 3 good qualities. And then you can set profiles, contact type, referred by. So all the important stuff. And then just click cancel there. Okay? And then each person has a call log associated with them. So if you click it, let's see if this one has something there. Okay, perfect. So You'll see at the top, it says call to book one-on-one. There's the prospect's name in the middle, Alex, referred by. There's not much stuff in there, this is just a test one, but what's cool right here is that you can log each phone call. So when you call a person, it already has, it pulls up today's date and time, the most current date and time. You put in the result, just click that so we can see. So those are your options that you're going to get. And then you can put in the notes, whatever the extra result is of the call that you need. So what's awesome about this is when you're sending a name to somebody else, and we'll show you how to do that right now, or share a name with someone else, that person is going to receive the call log of that prospect. So they're going to see how many times you've already called this person, when you called them, what the results of the phone calls were.
That's awesome.
So that is like next level. Because that happens all the time, all day long. We're constantly sharing contacts with each other. So if you want to share a name, this is how you do it. You just click the blue button, share, and then you select a user. So you should already know who you want to send the name to. So you just type the name, type Jamie, or whoever you want. Yeah, Neil. And then I can send that name to Neil. So now Neil's going to see on his dashboard. Go back to the dashboard so you can show him. Oh, it's not going to show up there.
It's not going to show up.
Okay, but I'm going to show him where it's going to show up though.
Okay.
So when someone's sending you a name, and we might change this so that it shows up automatically on your call list, but it should show up right here under recent activity that Brittany or whoever has sent you a prospect. And then you can accept the name, it gets added to your top 100, and then you can make the phone call. Does that make sense?
So you accept it and then you go to your prospect list to find it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in the prospect list, so go back to prospect
So
list.
Lester shared one with you? We go
Yeah.
back to the prospect?
Oh yeah, so you can see Lester shared one with me.
You'll see it.
Oh, we made it add. Okay, so it adds automatically. We changed it. So the share button goes away because this is someone else's prospect. The blue button, notice how it's gone on the 1, 2, 3, 4th entry. And then at the top, above Brittany Carr, the prospect, it says shared by Lester Barron. So that means that lets me know when I'm looking at my list that this person has shared a name with me. And this is someone else's prospect. And you know exactly who it came from. So it works the same with your downlines as well.
If you get a bunch of those, is there any, like right now, you've got those that you can see who shared.
Mm-hmm.
A week from now, say you get 10 more of those, how do you know which ones are new and which ones you've already seen?
Good question. You don't. But we're going to make it so that you'll be able to easily identify which ones are new and which ones are not new. Right now, the best way is just to look at the call log, but to eliminate having to click all the call logs, we'll just put a little red notification or something right above it, like a little flag, so you can see what the new ones are. And we'll probably just float the new ones to the top of the list, just to make it easier. Good question. Okay, so that's pretty much it with this. Oh, actually, this is kind of important. So if you have someone that's not interested, they're like, don't call me, blah, I don't want to do WFG, blah, blah, blah. They're just having a moment, because we all know they probably will come back. You can just click the not interested button. It's the pink one on the far right. And then they get added to a no call list. So we don't delete the contact, they just get added to a no call list. And if they ever come back, or they say, I'm interested again, or you want to revisit that list, you can add that person back to your normal call log. Okay?
Does our facility make any notes, like the terms things were left on?
You can just put it in the regular call log notes. And like the last note would be, don't call me again for 6 months, or never call me again.
If it was a shared contact, does that show up on the person who shared it with you also?
Yes, you're sharing those notes.
So everything you do with that contact gets shared with the originator.
Correct. That call log stays with that prospect. So whoever's got it at the time, if someone sends you a name, they're not taking it off their list and sending it to yours. You guys they're sending you a copy, and then you're sharing it. Can I answer your question? Okay.
At any point, does this ever interact with Salesforce?
It doesn't yet. So we're working on that to see how we can eliminate some double work.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
we're working on it.
implementation.
Yeah, we're working on that. Okay, so that's it for that. So now I'm going to go over the BPM stuff. So adding an invite. So on the phone, so if you're brand new, this is pretty important. Prospect list is important, and also adding names to your captain's list. So you should always be adding names. You've heard your leader say this before. You should always be adding names to your top 25s, and you should always be adding names to the captain's list throughout the week. It's a constant thing that you should always be doing. And so now we just made it easy to do. So this work, basically, once you create an account, you're linked to your SMD because you have to signify who your upline SMD is, and so you're instantly plugged into the base shop. You don't have to send over captain's list names. You don't have to email them. You don't have to text anybody. None of that stuff. If you have the app on your phone, hey, where did it go? That's great. Need to update. So on the app on your phone, can you pull that up? Thank you. Can I have it on your phone?
Can your SMD see your list?
You want to stream it out there?
Yeah. Yes, your SMD sees everything that you input. Everything rolls up. And we're working on certain features so that they can roll back down to you, because right now everything just rolls up. Does that make sense? So if someone puts in a name, if someone puts in a captain's list name for you, it should roll down to you so you can see it on your list. What happened?
I'm setting up the mobile.
Oh,
You want
okay.
the mobile?
Yeah, just so I can show them real quick what it looks like. Cool. Okay. Thank you.
I got a stream.
Okay, so on your phone, I'll just keep talking while he's setting that up. So the app, like I said, is the companion app. So this stuff right here on this dashboard, you can't, if you click it, it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't do, it's just to show you, what you have on the full site, like the numbers that you have on the full site. Does that make sense? But eventually you'll be able to, I forgot all your messages come through. Eventually you'll be able to click and see the full, like your full captain's list and your some production, stuff like that. But right now it's just basic for uploading stuff. So we'll start with the adding new guests. So it's very, very simple. It looks the same on here as it does on the website. Whether you have an Android or iPhone, it should look the same. You just put in the guest information, first name, last name. The email address is optional. Now BPM date. So this is important. So if you were automatically when you go into this page right here, you should see your normal BPM schedule. So if your S&D has their BPM schedule set up, which I think you guys all have that set up already, the BPM schedule should just pop up automatically, like your next BPM that's coming up. Okay. And okay. So if you click a date that there's not a BPM, it'll tell you there's no BPMs on this date. You see that? So that's how you'll know, like, oh, it's a Sunday. Obviously, you can't add names to a Sunday list because there's no Sunday BPM. So that's how you know. I wouldn't bring it up if it didn't come up all the time. It comes up a lot. I don't see my BPMs. That's because it's Sunday. Let's go back here. So it'll pull up your. What's the date today?
7.
So the 8th. There we go. Okay. When you're on the, thank you. When you're on the right date, it pulls up your office location and it should have your name already populated in the bottom field. So all you do is add the name and then you're done. You click submit and you're done. That's it. So that shows up, and then can we switch back to the computer version? We're going to go back and forth a couple times. So maybe I'll.
Can you access this from the contact list if you made a call and set it up, or does it, you have to go in separately and
Oh yeah, I should have went over that. Yes, you can. So on that call log page, on the bottom, it says BPM invite on the call log.
So if that happens, you don't have to go into this separate thing.
Right.
Perfect.
You can just send it to the next. We want to make the flow easy, so if you're on one page, you can just send that person to the next page that's necessary.
So it automatically goes on your captain's list if the result of your call is BPM invite.
Correct.
That is cool.
And same goes for matchups.
I'm not
There you go. Okay. That was a good question. So now we'll go back to the captain's list. We can go over this. So I'm going to talk to you guys as if you're all S&Ds running your own base shop, because everyone has their own captain's list for their own names. Okay? So pretend this is your shop, okay? So captain's list, this is really important. This is a moneymaker right here, because this is your whole, this is everything. Your prospects, your captain's list, this is where the money comes from, because this is all your people. So, you add the names, everything rolls up. And this is where you can do your confirmation calls from. So, or whoever's doing the confirmation calls is doing them from this page, and they're seeing the entire base shop. So when you log in, you're just going to see your own names. Okay, you're not going to see the whole base shop. So these buttons over here on the right. So let's say you're at work or you're at home and you've made a bunch of invites, confirmed invites, and you've added them to this list. And let's say, well, it's today, so you're probably going to be doing some confirmation calls. So as you're doing your calls, you can do them from this list, and then click the buttons that coordinate with however the phone call whatever the result of the phone call was. For example, so C means confirmed. So if I'm calling Neil Sandoval, my first contact, and I confirmed him, I'm going to click confirm. That lets my S&D know. Well, you're the S&D, but that lets whoever. Let's say you did a call for your downline, and you confirm that person. Your downline doesn't have to call you and say, hey, is my guest confirmed for tomorrow? And they don't have to worry, because that's sometimes for new people, they kind of get worried about what's happening with their people, right, or duplicating the work. We want to eliminate that as much as possible.
So this is only for confirming that they're coming, or for?
This is for confirming that they're coming. This is for if you left a message for that person, if you rescheduled the guest, or if they're not
It's all
interested.
about being a guest though, not a prospect, or?
Same thing. If you prospect somebody and you invite them to the BPM, you would add them to the captain's list.
But if you don't, say you're going to go out and meet them, it doesn't go on this list?
Not necessarily. You might create a matchup for that person. You might say, I would like someone to come with me to do a one-on-one, or it's a personal appointment. I'm just going to do a one-on-one with this person.
Would I do it in this screen?
You wouldn't do it there. You would do it in the matchup, your appointment calendar. So this is really, really important. You should be driving this all the time. So so for me, before noon, well, it's Friday, so today around noon, I would be calling the captain's list for Saturday. So that should just be part of your schedule. No matter what happens, no matter what's going on, somebody should be confirming your guests for Saturday BPM. And same thing goes for your Wednesday BPM. So at noon, Wednesday, is when, like just before that time, I would be gathering up my last round of names, as many names as I can from everybody, and adding names to the list, gathering up as many as I can, trying to get competition going. Like, so-and-so's kicking your butt, this person has 3 guests, how many you have coming? Just getting people excited for BPM, and adding as many names to this list as you can.
So these are yours though, it's not like your team's as well.
This is yours. So if you have a senior associate account or an MD account, level account, you're going to see your downlines on here. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, so you can work off this list. We also built in a highlighting system, which I think is super cool if you're super nerdy like me and very structured. You like this. If not, you don't have to use it, but it's there for you. So, and then you can click the little highlighter icon. Can you minimize that? Yeah. You click the little icon, it takes you through the colors. So that for me was helpful because, like I said, I was running a very large base shop, and there were a lot of names on the captain's list all the time. And so sometimes I just needed to look at the list at a glance and see what was going on based on colors. I didn't always have time to read all the little notes that I had written for myself. And that's the point. You want to get to that point, by the way. You want to have that many where you need a color coding system because there's just so many names coming through. You want to add to that? Okay. So the follow-up notes are really, really important. The notes always need to be tight, I would say. That's the best way I can describe it. Your most recent contact with that person, it needs to always be updated on your captain's list. So you can look at it and know, you're basically just trying to get them, you want them to be on your HV filters next, or you want them to be a recruit, or you want them to be on production. So those notes are very important. Like,
does that transfer back to the contact list?
Good question. I didn't test that part, but I'll find out. It should. They should. If you sent them from your prospect list to this page, the notes should transfer over.
So I added a note in.
So when you add it, okay, thank you. So when you add a note in, it logs all of your notes. So this is really cool because you're essentially sharing the same set of books. So I used to have a binder. So think of it as like you're sharing the binder, and all of you can see, your downline can see the note, and you can see the note as the upline of what's going on with this guest. Okay? So this is really cool. So you can add a note there. Let's say the person showed up and they're really interested, but they have to work. So that's the note about this guest, right? So I know if I come in the next day and I see this note, I go, okay, they're really interested, but they have to work. So I'm going to call and find out what their work schedule is, because I'm trying to book an appointment. I just want the next appointment. That's all I'm trying to do. A lot of my work was done off of this captain's list and the blue cards. Like, a lot of my day was spent doing this, trying to book appointments all day long. So whoever has the note in there, it'll document it. This one was put 14 seconds ago. And then if it was you that put in the note, it'll have your little picture with your name and whatever note you put in there. So I don't have to call that prospect again and say the exact same thing that you just said. Does that make sense?
And it logs all the notes.
And it logs all the notes, which is super cool. We don't have that on paper. You're not able to do this on paper in a little box
No,
on a piece of
exactly.
paper. This is awesome.
So your authorized user would show up if they added the note and they called.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So when you have an
that's all the
assistant,
other
this is where this comes in also. When you have an assistant making notes, you're gonna see that your assistant made the note, that wasn't your note that you put, or that wasn't your downline's note, or your spouse's note. You're gonna know exactly who made that note.
We have like say you have an assistant, but also you have like your downlines calling those same people too. Like, what if your assistant's calling the same person and the downline's calling them?
That's okay. So if your assistant's logged in as you, it's still gonna show up that your assistant made the note.
Okay. Oh, so it'll show. Who
So
made the
everyone
note.
needs to be checking the
Okay.
notes,
So
because
we
you
don't
check,
have to put like Evan did this or like Evan did this.
it does it like this.
Okay.
Brittany O, and then it has your note right there. It's so awesome. Ah, I love it.
Mhm.
Okay, close that out. Okay. Did anyone have a question? No? Okay.
Well,
Jack?
I don't know if you're getting to it yet or not, but after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
in order to see who didn't show up at a BPM, you have to go to that BPM and that date. You have to go to Thousand Oaks, 6th July, to see who did or didn't show up.
Or can you
Is
just
there
go to
anywhere you
contact
can
list?
have a master list that shows all the people from recent BPMs who didn't go?
Yeah, so
didn't
I'm
show up?
working on that. Yeah, so it's gonna be an auto follow-up. So it'll pull up everything from all your past BPMs of all your no-shows and all your people that did show and all your people that, like, everything.
Because as you're moving through the calendar, you're not just working one BPM at a time. You're following up on people from 2, 3, 4 BPMs
Right.
before.
Right, I understand. I gotcha. We're working on it.
Okay.
It's a little complicated, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
But that was a good question. Okay, so this is captain's list. I want to go to next to, on here, did you already click it? So on here also, so the action button on the far right, it's a blue arrow. Click that. So this button here, so if they're added on the captain's list, and let's say they come on board, they get AMA, you can add them to the 8-speed filters. You can send them on to the next paper where you're tracking them from. So you don't have to keep referring back to captain's list or add them again on 8-speed filters. It does it for you automatically. Soon we'll have it so that you can add them to production, and you can add them to filters, and you can add them wherever you need to add them to. But that's a work in progress. So that's that. So let's go to the guest check-in. BPM. We just changed this whole order,
Yeah.
so it's a little.
That's throwing me off.
I know, I do the same thing. It looks so good. Okay, so this is really cool. This is brand new. The stuff on here at the top is new, but this is all the stuff on here is stuff that I had to kind of do in my head and report back to Jamie and Sean, like what was going on. So I kind of took all those things that we had to know about BPM, the guests and the numbers and totals, and we made it electronic so that you guys can automatically get those numbers in seconds. So, and you minimize that. So here's my guess. So it's BPM night, and this is something that we share as an office. So hopefully all the SMDs in your office are using BSC Pro. It makes it a lot easier. That way, when guests come into the office for BPM, you can just have a check-in at the front desk instead of a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's sharing the same set of books. So that's the way I can describe it. We're all sharing this. We all see the same information. So you as a non-SMD are just gonna remember you're just gonna see your own names, and if you're SA/MD, you're gonna see your downlines and your own names that are on the guest check-in. So all you have to do is check people in. So when they come in, you say, hi, what's your name? Welcome to our office. Oh, Neil Sandoval. You search, let's say there's 25 names on here. You don't have time to read all the names. You search Neil Sandoval. It pulls up Neil, and you check him in. And we're done. And they go into Mozone. They don't have to sign anything. They don't have to write anything down. They're checked in. They go into Mozone. What now we have, what's really cool, we're testing with a couple base shops, is we're gonna send you a notification when your guest is checked in. So when we do a Super Saturday and there's hundreds of people, you don't have to be looking for your guests, like wondering if they showed up. Once they check in at the front, it's gonna send you a little notification on your phone, ding, Neil Sandoval is checked in, to let you know that your guest is checked in. That's so cool, you guys.
Bombshell.
That's so cool. Like, it's really cool. Anyway, so all the information that you put on the captain's list, when you it automatically transfers over to the guest check-in list. So as you're going throughout your week, you don't need to be adding names to your captain's list, and then also making sure they get put on the guest check-in. All you do is put them on your captain's list. You just keep adding names, and we automatically transfer those names over to the guest check-in for front desk.
If somebody had a walk-in, or they just met somebody and they bring a
Right.
BPM, they were never put in the system at all.
Check.
Now how do you manually put them in?
Check.
Click on it, get new guys.
Add new.
Jack. Come on, Jack. You know me better than that. So there's a button at the top right where you click Add New Guest, and you can just check them in right there. Okay? But that's a good question. Okay, so, and as you're checking people in,
You can't do this from your phone though yet, right?
no, we can't do check-ins from the phone yet, but eventually we'll get there. That's going to take some work, but we'll get there. But you can still work off of your captain's list. So at the end of the night, oh, go ahead.
So the person out front who's doing all the check-in with the guests, she's the one that would add in the name, if it was a walk-in.
If it was a walk-in, yes, that person would just add in a name.
And so then they would just ask who brought you,
Mhm.
who invited you.
Yeah, and usually the people at the front know what they're doing. So if someone walks in and they're like, who invited you? Or who's your SMD? The guest doesn't know what an SMD is,
Right.
but they'll say, who invited you? They'll just add the inviter's name and we'll figure out who the SMD is.
So for,
That's their job.
the most guests, I think devil's advocate.
That's okay.
Most of the guests, or I would say more guests, are brought by brand new people than anybody else. So, and they aren't necessarily on BSC Pro yet, so it seems like you can have a lot of walk-ins that are gonna have to be input manually to the day of the BPM.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody just invites a guest and they're not on BSC Pro yet, and they come in, they expect their guest to sign in. It's gonna, if we were to go to the system totally
Mm-hmm.
and not have a piece of paper, then that person at the front desk is gonna be adding guests for those kinds of people all the time.
Yes. Yes, in theory, yes, but that hasn't come up a lot. It hasn't been a problem. People have been pretty good about getting their brand new people on there. Once they know how to do an invite on their own, they're on BSC Pro. Like they go to the first phone zone, that's when they get them on BSC Pro. Hey, this is a free app. Download it. This is how we run our invite list. So they don't really have a choice in some base shops. They have to use it when they're inviting people. And if they don't, then it's usually only a few people that have to be manually added. That's what we've seen so far. But if it happens a lot, we'll come up with some solution for it, but it hasn't really been an issue yet.
So it's part of the initial training.
Yes, in most offices it is now. Took a while to get to that point, but it is now. Yes.
I have a question. My legal name is Margaret,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure what I am on this app, if it's Margaret or my nickname is Peg.
Can we go over that after?
Okay.
I do? Yeah, that's more of a very specific situation, but we'll go to that after. Don't remind me at the end.
So, cause when our base shop starts to get so big that we have like aligned people,
Mm-hmm.
do you think if we have like 3 people checking people in, are they all gonna be, those 3 like tablets gonna be coordinated?
Yeah, so they're all in sync. So you can be
Okay.
logged. You can be logged into one account on 4 different devices if you want, 5, 6, however many you want. We didn't really put a limit on that,
Yeah.
but usually 2 or 3 people at the front can handle it.
Yeah.
Because we also have associate check-in, so your associates can do the same type of check-in as well as your guests.
Well, is Jamie's list gonna be able to see all the SMDs in this office?
Yes, so if you share a BPM with other SMDs, all your names are merged. So all the base shops are merged onto one list. So it doesn't matter from whoever's in whose base shop doing the front desk, they can access everybody's guest list. Does that answer your question? Okay. And then here at the top, pretty self-explanatory. Whoops, it just tells you total invites, total that have checked in, your attendance ratio, your top personal top personal inviter, which is really cool. This is really fun when we're doing Super Saturdays. It should be fun on your normal Wednesday, Saturday, but it's really fun when you have like hundreds of people and you need a count of like who's the top inviter. This has been pretty cool. Cash uses this a lot and they love it. It drives a lot of competition because you can log in here and see who the top inviter is, and it just kind of gets people riled up. So we like that. And then the top base shop. So this is also cool because if you're in a base shop, you can see like who you need to knock off the top spot. If there's another base shop beating you, you can all see that there's someone else beating you, and you can do something about it. So now you're not just guessing like, oh, I wonder if Wes's base has more. I wonder if Jamie's base has more. You can see who's winning if the whole office is doing it together. Like I said, I like to think of the office as everybody is one team. So if you want to be the best office, you should be trying to beat anyone who's in the office, right? And then it just brings everybody's numbers up. So that's pretty cool. Any questions about this? Pretty simple. Yes.
So it does tell you who hasn't checked in.
Yeah.
So you do
Yes.
find out, that kind of answers his question then, right? Does that go back to the contact list that they didn't check in?
That's a good question. I'll have to check. It should, but I like to give a definite answer. But I'll check and get you a definite answer that it's doing that. Okay. We also have the highlighters built in, which is cool. So you can choose to use that or you don't have to. It's up to you. But you again just click through the numbers.
We were just that big.
Yeah, we were
We
just that
needed-
big. We were just that big. You want to get that big where you need those highlighters. And that is it for this page. So that's pretty simple. And we keep everything archived. So if you need to go back, like Jack was saying, you just click the calendar at the top and you can go back and see your names. So the little red dot at the top will indicate that you have, go back to that calendar. So on the calendar, you see the little red dots above the dates? That just tells you that there's names on that list. So if there's no names, it'll be blank.
On the follow-up notes, on the guest sign-in, is that done by the front desk? Like maybe somebody didn't come dressed
No.
appropriately, or what?
No, I was going to go over that. I'm going to go over that right now. So thank you. for keeping me on track. So at the end of the night, we have the blue cards. Or if you're in you have those cards that you hand out at the end of the night. So I would, or pretend you're the S&D, you have the blue cards. You're the only one that should take those blue cards. And you're documenting what the results of that, whatever the guests put on their card. I was putting that in the follow-up notes. Those notes also transfer to my captain's list. So whatever list you're working off of, I suggest you work off the captain's list, but it's up to you. You can work off whatever page you want to. But I always had to make sure that my blue cards, the notes, matched what notes were on my captain's list, and the notes had to match also on the guest check-in, on the guest sign-in paper. So I was doing all this manually. You guys don't have to. There you go. So you put that in there, and then you're done.
So SMD will put that in there.
Yeah, your S&D will put that in there, or the base shop coordinator will put that in there. But
And we know what time we need to be here for the follow-up.
exactly. So that's really cool because we couldn't do that before. You'd have to take a picture of the blue card, or someone would have to email you the information. I would have to call you as the base shop coordinator. I might miss your call, you might miss my call, and so sometimes wires would get crossed. But now Grace can put in the notes at the end of the night. We did this before we left the office. So before we even went home, I made sure all of my notes were documented here. So by the time you get home, before you leave the office, you can see every appointment that's been booked with your people.
Does that fill your calendar?
No, not yet. Not yet. You're one step ahead of me. But we're getting there. It's complicated. There's a lot of moving bits and pieces to it, but we're trying to get it out as fast as we can. Okay. So
Is that he just put the note that appointment was 9 a.m. with me? If I'm not the one to put that in there, do I get notified of that somehow?
no.
I would only put it in there if I was doing the base shop coordinator doing the documenting. I would only put that note in there after confirming with you that you took that 9 a.m.
Oh,
Right.
so then I somehow
Like, I wouldn't book that without without telling
That would
you.
never happen if
But
I,
it's in that contact file.
this is the guest sign-in sheet.
You know how on the guest sign-in sheet now, on the right in the margin,
Uh-huh.
there's notes there? Grace still does that, right?
Yeah.
There's notes, it's the same thing.
Well, what I'm wondering is, does that, if this was somebody that was entered, that contact was entered as a contact and got on the captain's list and now showed up and everything, is that note gonna go into their contact?
It's not gonna be,
File.
it's not gonna be on their call log, if that's what you're asking. Because that was not a phone call, and I booked that appointment at that time.
When you have all these when you go into a contact,
Mhm.
you have a note section.
Mhm.
It tells you everything you've talked to, every time you talk to them and everything like that. It'd be nice if this
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
automatically
Making sure the notes are updated?
went into that
Right.
So it's
file.
not just the phones.
So that if I look at all my contacts, I can see
That makes sense.
that
I'll make sure that the notes are synced up. I wanna say yes, but I just wanna make sure that it's working properly. But yes, but it is possible to do. But it doesn't send you a notification or anything like that yet, but it will. We'll be able to do that if possible.
So does Ash's team like check this like every couple hours? Or
Oh,
they
yeah,
have to?
his assistant, yeah, they do, all the time.
When I was doing this myself for
Mhm.
Jamie, I was doing this daily. At least
Yeah,
twice a day.
same for me. I checked it every day, multiple
Yeah.
times a day.
I mean, you're running a business.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And then you just instill that with your downline too.
Yeah, and they're seeing you do it. So when they come in, they're watching you confirm names on the captain's list. They're watching you add names. They're watching you make phone calls. So yeah, and then they're like, what is this thing? This is how we run our system. This is how we run the business. We're not just floating around here making random phone calls and writing things on post-it notes. We're running a business.
So we wouldn't use the line app then?
No, line up you still use. Oh, are you talking about for sending in accountability?
Captain's list, yeah.
I would talk to your S&D about that. Yeah, but still, line is really good just for pumping up the team and
Well,
sending out
especially
updates.
for new people too, because
Yeah.
then, you know, say we had some new people, then Pam can actually put them on the BSC phone because they're not in that yet.
Yeah, if it's a brand new person and all they have is line, and they're like, hey, I have a guest. At that point, I would say, hey, this is what we use to upload our guests,
well,
because the whole team doesn't need to know about
here's
it.
the issue with that, though,
Mhm.
is it does pump up the team to see that the team has a lot of guests. If I'm a brand new person, I'm not gonna see all of the guests that are showing up on BSC Pro.
And they don't need to. It's okay to say, oh, I invited a guest online.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't need to say, I invited Carlos Rodriguez, here's his phone number and email, and just put it online. I don't care if I'm in your base shop, I'm like, I don't need to see your guest information. But if they're like, hey, I invited 10 people, that's cool, we like that online. We like that stuff. Did I answer your question? Kind of? Line? Okay. So that is it for this page. Oh, one more thing.
Okay.
So here, the little yellow C here, confirmed. If you were to, this is on the guest sign-in. So if you were to click that C checkbox on the captain's list, it'll show you here that this person has been, that person was actually confirmed. Because you'll have guests on here that weren't confirmed, but that just showed up. Does that make sense? So it's a little more complicated. If you're new, don't worry about it. This is just for people that are running their own
Would I
shop.
show it really quick? So if you went to captain's
Yeah.
list and you clicked on this C right here,
So your guests that confirmed today, that said they confirmed today that they're coming tomorrow, I would click confirm. And then on my guest check-in, the girls at the front are gonna see, oh, these are the people that were confirmed, and that showed up.
See,
This
showed
will
up.
help you with your ratios. That's the whole point of that, because we wanna know who showed up, and not just who showed up, but who was confirmed and showed up. That gives you an accurate, percentage. Okay?
You didn't get confirmed.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, on that one, the ratio should be 100%, because,
No, because
No.
Jack Tucker's not
We only
checked
checked in one.
You didn't check in.
but
It's
only one
shown.
confirmed.
No, but you're.
We're just doing
ratio
straight
based on-
attendance. We're just doing straight up attendance right here.
So if I click Jack, now it's 100.
When we
Well,
have special,
I thought the ratio was of confirmed.
No.
no, when we your special reports are gonna show you your percentages of like who you invited, who confirmed. It'll get very, very detailed for the technical people. Okay? Okay, BPM schedule, I'm gonna show this really quick because we do have some S&Ds that are on the webinar version. So if you're an S&D, this is where you go to set up your BPM schedule. So you would click BPM, and then you click BPM schedule, and at the top right, you click add a BPM. So you click the BPM event type, so it should be recurring. You click the day of the week, and you select your office. Click the select office one. So your office should already be in there. If it's not, you can contact us, but you just search. No, don't do that. Do the search. Just search our office.
Oh.
Don't scroll the list. You'll be scrolling forever. We have a lot of names in there. Go ahead and click it. Just do all of them. BPM day. Do
Recurring.
yeah, and then do Wednesday.
Whoop. That's right
We're
here.
gonna have to delete that one. Okay, so that's how you create a new BPM. Now, if you have an S&D in your office that already created a BPM, you're just gonna link in with their BPM. For example, let's go to the top. Okay, let's do this one. So this is a test one. So see where it says S&Ds 3? So that means that someone has already created a BPM and there's already 3 S&Ds plugged into this. They already have captains list created for this BPM. So if you're coming late to the game, you just click that S&Ds, that green S&Ds button, and just add yourself. So click in there, click in the box. And then you just add your name to it, and then your whole base shop is plugged in. So you guys can start adding names to that list. So this doesn't apply if you're not an S&D, you don't have to worry about it, but if you are, this is for you. Okay, that's it. And so this eliminates creating duplicate BPMs. If you have a one-time BPM, if you're doing a Super Saturday or a women's night or something special that's only one time, this is where you would go to create a BPM. And then that generates a captain's list. So your team can start adding names to that list.
You can't do this if you're not an S&D.
No.
You can't get.
If you're not, you just tell your S&D or you tell the S&D's assistant, hey, we're doing a BMP or we're doing a special whatever event here. Can you please add a BPM so we can make a list? And they'll do it. It's pretty easy. I've taught a lot of base shop coordinators how to do this, so a lot of people know how to use it already. Can you make sure you delete that one later?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, they're rare Wednesday. I figured about 13 S&Ds that could be me. Okay, let's go to the matchup book. And then do request a matchup. So we have, one of the things on the app is adding a matchup. So, and if you're brand new and you don't know what a matchup is, that just means you've booked an appointment and you need a field trainer to go with you. So you're saying, I'm new, I have this appointment and I need to be matched up with a field trainer. That's my knowledge of what a matchup means.
I'm gonna show them mobile.
Yes, if you don't mind. So you have this available on the app and on the website, whichever you prefer to use. Most people upload their matchups from their cell phone because it's just easier when you're on the go to do it from the app.
Oh, it's not gonna do it.
It's not going to show it?
No.
Okay, that's okay. We can do it from the computer.
Sorry,
Oh,
guys.
the other. It's like Inception. It's like windows within windows within windows. Okay. Just a minute. That's what we bigger. Okay, so pretty simple. You see, all you do is if you just read each of the labels, it tells you what to do. So I'm not even going to tell you all the things to do. But I will say this part is important down here. The profiles are important. Specific address, if you have it, of where your appointment is going to be is very important because a message is going to go out to all the field trainers that your S&D selects to match you up. So they need to know the pertinent information about that prospect or about your friend or family member so they can do a proper matchup for you. Oh, you're filling one out?
Yeah, might as well.
And Neil's going to show you how to do it. Pretty simple.
And then the
Just click
profile.
whatever. Yeah,
just
just
click.
and it tells you what they are. So sometimes
And it does
someone,
it for all of them.
and on paper, a lot of people would leave that blank, and it would frustrate me as an assistant because I'd have to call the associate and say, hey, how old is this person? Are they married? Do they have kids? Are they a homeowner?
What is
Spanish. Spanish speaking preferred.
Yeah. So we can click that.
You select spouse's name if it applies. The trainee should be you. We're trying to make it so that it autofills your name in there, but sometimes you're booking for someone else. Go ahead.
Do you find that this is easier to use with younger people versus if you have like an older?
You know, I think it just depends on the person. Some people are really good with it, no matter what age they are. You kind of just have to feel them out. But I wouldn't make excuses for them at all, because they're trying to run a business just like you. So even if they're older and they come at you with like, oh, I'm not good with technology, nip that in the bud. Just be like, this is very, very easy, and keep it simple. Say, this is where you go to put in your appointments. You download that, do it, show them, do it with them, and show them how easy it is. And then once they get it, then they get it.
Do you think we would have like a separate training for this, just like orientation, ABCs, fast start for new people?
A lot of offices do that, yes. So that can be up to the decision of the SMDs in the office. Some people have that as a class.
Okay.
You have Spanish, how about Mandarin?
We're gonna we're gonna put all the languages in there.
Okay.
Like I'll put a other button, and then you can put in which language.
Okay.
Because I realize Spanish is not the only other option.
Not here.
Yeah, exactly. Here in California, it happens a lot, but yeah, we haven't got a lot of Mandarin, so but we'll add that in. Okay, so once you have the appointment, it gets listed here on the left. So all the matchups that come through. So how do I explain this? So if you're an SMD, you're going to see every single matchup that comes through the base shop. If you're a non-SMD, you're just going to see all of your appointments listed here. And instead of assign, because this assign button is just for SMDs, because they control the matchups, you're going to see pending. So, and once a field trainer has been assigned to you, you're going to get a notification saying, Jamie is your field trainer for this such and such appointment. Okay? Question?
Yeah, let's just say, rather than drag Jack all the way to Washington with me, if I would like somebody in Washington, will that matchup happen through the SMD then, or how would that?
It would go through the SMD still.
Okay.
So Pam and Jack would see that the appointment came through.
Right.
But whoever's controlling the matchups would see this and go, oh, this is in Washington.
Let's say Alaska or India.
Or Alaska, whoever, they would reach out to whoever they needed to, and they can send this information along to them.
Okay.
And if that person's not on BSC Pro yet, they can just send a little screenshot and text it to them.
Yeah.
It was like a worst case scenario. We had to do that in the beginning because not everyone was on it. So it was like just a couple base shops, and that's what we had to do. But now most people are on it in our hierarchy, so does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so once an appointment has been assigned, it gets sorted into your calendar. Okay? So this is just a list of everything. And then once it gets assigned, once a trainer has accepted the matchup, oh, did you already click?
I clicked assign
Who'd you assign it to?
to you.
Oh, okay. Did the thing come up on there?
On me, yeah.
Okay.
I wish I could show them.
Yeah, yeah. Darn it. We'll show them here live in person.
Yeah. It
You
showed
guys
me
are
that
lucky to see it.
showed me that the BPM, the appointment was created, and that it was matched up,
Cool.
like push notifications.
Perfect. So you'll get a note. I want to show them on this side. Wait, were you the trainee on it?
Yeah. Just light it up. It's right there.
Your Touch ID thing came up. These phones now, there's like so much security. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So see on the bottom here, that's a push notification. So it'll tell you that a matchup was created, and that it went away. Matchup was created for you. So if Jamie's making phone calls for you and she's putting her matchups in there, it's going to send you a notification that you're the trainee, and then you'll get another notification when your trainer has been selected.
When we get, you know how the line puts a 1 by it if you've got
A message?
So will that be that on the BSC program?
Sometimes it happens and sometimes it's not, so that's why we have the push notifications. I've noticed that we're just working on it to make it consistently do that, but it consistently will send you a push notification.
So here's the
So
other
we've
one that
got
we
that.
can match up.
Hmm?
Here's the other one that we can show them the matchup.
Okay, yeah.
So you click assign.
So if you're an SMD, you're the only person that's going to have this field here, so or SMD or above. So choose a field trainer. So this is how the notifications actually get sent out to the field trainers. So if I'm Jamie, I'm going to select choose a field trainer. I'm going to put in Mauricio, Brittany, Neil, a bunch of people in the hierarchy that I would like to do this appointment, and then it blasts them all a message at the same time. They get a push, they accept it, you get a notification as a trainee, the person that assigned it, which would be Jamie, let's say, gets a notification that someone has accepted it. We see who's accepted it, and then your field trainer gets all the information. So you don't have to resend any information to them.
If they send that out to like 4 or 5, like you just said, the first one who accepted, the others are all blocked out.
Yes. So if someone tries
Show
to
buzzer.
exactly. So you want to become a field trainer because this is actually pretty fun. In the hierarchies that we know are using it, it's become pretty fun and pretty competitive. You want to be the first person to accept the matchup. If you come in afterwards and say, yes, I'm available, it'll say, sorry, it says something to the effect of, sorry, someone else beat you to it. Better luck next time. Something like that. Just like a little dig. So you want to be on top of it. Okay? Go ahead and cancel that out, Neil.
Okay.
Okay, so then here, this blue number 2 here. So your calendar should be lit up like a Christmas tree, just all lit up with different numbers. So the number here just indicates the total number of matchups, total number of appointments in your base shop. Here we go. Okay, total number of appointments in your base shop. So for this example, it was just 2, and here's the 2 appointments. So one is unassigned and one has been assigned. So if you're a field trainer, you're going to want to use this. Especially if your SMG is using it, you're going to want to use this. So if you've received matchups and you've accepted them, they're going to get sorted under your name for any particular date. Does that make sense? So you're going to see all your matchups here. Now you as the field trainer are responsible for updating your notes. So if you've called the trainee and the trainee says, oh, the appointment got rescheduled. So that's either on you or the trainee to go into your matchup book and change the date or update any information that's important to the appointment. Because when we were doing this all on paper or text message and email, sometimes appointments would change. I would miss a phone call, or I would know that the appointment time has changed or location has changed, and I couldn't get a hold of the trainee, blah, blah, blah. Anything could happen. But now you can do this, and notification will go out to everybody. The appointment time has changed, the location has changed, something about the appointment is different, and everyone needs to be alerted about it.
So if the appointment changes and the person that accepted it, the field trainer, can't do it on that time because they've got another appointment or something like that, then you get a rematch up?
They shouldn't have accepted it if they have an appointment at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So
she's
they're the
saying
ones.
if the time changed and now they can't.
Oh, well, yeah, in that case, the field trainer should try to make it so that it can work, and if it can't, it has to roll back up to the base shop. That does happen.
So it will show that?
They'll have to reassign it, but it should be their job. Let's say Jamie gives appointment to Mauricio, so he runs his own base shop. Mauricio had the appointment, and then he finds out that it pushed back 30 minutes. Now he can't make it. He needs to tell Jamie that it has changed, and then Jamie can.
Does he do it in here, or does he have to just?
If it's like a close call, if it's like within an hour, I would make a phone call.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing it through here. Even though, like, this is my software, I would not do it through here. I would make a phone call at that point.
But the way you do it on here is the reassign?
Yeah, but I would let the SMD know first so that they can reassign it to somebody else. So if you're a field trainer and you've accepted an appointment, you cannot just reassign it on your own. You need to tell the SMD first that what's going on. And they might say, oh, can you just reassign it to Jermaine, or can you reassign it to Joanna Mockett? And Jamie will say, yeah, sure. Or she'll do it herself. That makes sense? You still have to communicate with the other person. I wouldn't just leave it to this. Like, you still have to communicate with people, especially with matchups. Okay, so at the end of the night, once you've done an appointment, at the end of the day, let's say you do 6 or 7 appointments, I would go through here, because this is what we had to do anyway. Neil had to do this probably the most in a huge matchup book.
Yeah.
Was go through every appointment and update all the notes. So we would want putting in the results of the appointment. So, and we would highlight it. So you can put something in there, or you don't have to, but.
And then I would highlight it.
Client now. Okay. And then we would highlight it the color. So when I'm looking through and I'll get to you, sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I didn't see how the trainer gets this notification and how he accepts it. What did I miss?
You didn't miss it because I didn't show it.
Oh, okay.
Because we have to keep switching back to the app. So it makes it a little tough, but pull it up on here and we'll just show you live. So in your chat, you're gonna get a push notification and you tap on it. It opens up your chat.
Only on the phone or on the computer? computer also?
It does it on the computer too.
Okay.
And I just have this open all day at my desk, and most assistants and SMDs have a tab open on BSC Pro, and so you don't miss any of the notifications that come through. But I'll show you here. Okay, we've accepted all of these already, but let's see. It'll look something like this. It'll come it'll be in a big room in your chat. So in this pink one here, the chat at the very bottom, you click that. Well, the notification will come through, so you can just tap the notification. It'll open right up to your chat, and then it'll send the information to you right here. So there'll be 3 buttons at the bottom that'll say yes, no, or maybe, and you just click whichever button applies to you as the field trainer. Okay, and so it throws all the field trainers that. Let's say I've lasted 5 people, all 5 trainers get put into this group conversation, so we can communicate with each other if need be. And who?
If I have a client that I've got the field trainer and everything, and they have to change the appointment, the client, who do they change the appointment with, me or with the field trainer?
It's whoever they call.
Okay.
If they call you because they know you, they're probably most likely going to call you.
Okay, I think I can
So
get
if
the
it
mobile.
changes-
Sorry guys, for everybody that's on the live webinar, I think we'll be able to show you guys the mobile now.
Okay, so, but what if they call the field trainer?
If they call the field trainer, then the field trainer needs to communicate that with you.
Because how do they know that I'm gonna be?
There you go,
able to
Brett. You
do
want
that?
to show the webinar people?
How would
The
they
mobile app.
even know who the field trainer is?
Usually the field trainer calls them. If they've accepted,
Oh, okay.
they usually will call. They should call the trainee first, and then they'll usually call the appointment themselves.
Okay.
So
Cause if then they call the appointment changes, they'll let me know, but if they change it to a time that I can't be there,
yeah, if that happens, it's kind of, it's really up to you guys to decide what you're going to do in that scenario. So sometimes the client can push it back a little later. You just have to kind of make that work. It just depends on the people. If that's the only time they can do, I mean, it just really depends. I can't really give you a straight answer on that one. Okay, so since we don't have any new matchups in here, but this is what it will look like for people on the webinar. The appointment, the notification will show up if you're a field trainer in a green box, just like this one, just like the one that you see on the screen, and it will say, Brittany would like to know if you're available for an appointment at this date, at this time, in this location. So that's all the information that you're going to get. It's that way on purpose to prevent what we call cherry picking. So people can't turn down your appointments just because they're not qualified enough for them, or they're in an area that I don't want to drive out to Lancaster because it's too far, or it prevents that type of attitude. So you want to keep it so that if you're a field trainer, if you can do the appointment, you accept it, and you just need to trust that your SMD has given you a qualified appointment. And usually they do. They match up the good ones, and then the ones that are not so good, you should do it yourself if you can handle it. And then once a trainer has been confirmed, you see on the bottom of the green banner, you all be in a group conversation, and then you'll see the banner on the bottom of the green box that says a trainer has been confirmed for this matchup, and it just stays that way in the chat. So does that make sense to everybody? I can't hear you on the webinar, but hopefully you're nodding your head. Okay. And then I'll go to the matchup book now that we're on here. Submitting matchup. So you can see here, it looks submitting an appointment looks the same on the phone. Day, time, date, prospect name. You put in all the information. It looks the same. You submit it. Do you have any appointments in here?
Yeah. Oh.
You've got one in there. Okay, that's cool. So in your matchup book,
Delete.
you got an active phone right now. So in your matchup book, on your phone, your appointments that I just showed you on the calendar on the website version, they're also going to show up here. So what we're working on now is allowing you guys to edit your appointments from here. Right now you can't edit the appointment from here. So we're very, very close to launching that because I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to log in online and edit it, but we're working on it. So we should have that done pretty soon. But at least you'll know when all your appointments are, and you don't have to have them in a separate calendar.
Is there any way that this is just the matchups? If we are running a calendar and we have appointments and everything, and we need to marry, if we're gonna accept a matchup, we have to consult our calendar, see if we're available. Maybe we don't remember. And is this somehow reflect, well, there's two questions here. The one is the upline can see all the matchups for his entire base, but he can't see the person's personal calendar other than matchups. Is that correct?
Yes, but here's the thing with that matchup. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
You shouldn't be accepting. This is not BSC Pro, nothing. You should not be accepting any matchup if you know that you're not available.
I understand that. When she showed a calendar and she showed a number and it said you have 3 matchups this day. That's in your entire base. But that doesn't reflect all the activities going on in your base. That's just the matchups.
It also has personal appointments in there.
As well.
How are they getting in there?
On that same page. Dang, we have to go back. Okay. There's a personal appointment button. So you would add in your personal appointment and it gets logged under your name on the calendar.
So the
So I can-
trainers are all.
Everyone's
they
putting
should
all
be
their
using-
appointments, yes, your
There you
one-on-ones,
go.
your fast start appointments, all your appointments. Yeah, so the blue button, personal appointment, you click that and you put in personal appointments.
Okay.
So I can see what's going on. And I don't need to know about your dentist appointment, your kid's soccer game, all
Your
your ballerina
Just
recital.
block
I
it,
just
right?
want to know which appointments that you have for the business.
So if you do have a dentist appointment, you'll do just like a block or busy or personal or something like that?
I wouldn't even put that.
I wouldn't even put that.
I would just use this for your business appointments.
have that.
If you're not available, then you can just say you're not available when a
That's
matchup
what I'm
comes through.
asking.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put in your personal appointments in there.
But just right.
I wouldn't put your
Things.
extracurricular appointments
Well,
in
I
there.
wasn't asked that, but if you did, is there a way to block that space, that time, so that somebody doesn't?
Yeah, you can.
Well,
You put it as a personal time, but I wouldn't, only because your S&D might think you're doing an appointment when you're not.
well,
If they want to count how many personal appointments you did, if they think that's a personal appointment and it's not, it kind of messes up the numbers.
well, the person assigning these matchups isn't looking at your calendar to see if you're available, right?
They're
looking
just
at-
asking.
They're just
Yeah,
asking.
they're just
so-
asking if you're
So they don't
available.
really care.
Yeah, they're not
No.
going to see your schedule anyway.
Yeah, so you can just block it to personal time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, like what Jack was saying, is there going to be like a master profile for each person so that we can see like, oh, here's the BPM they missed, here's the BPM that they're going to try to go to, here's the call log, here's the notes, here's how the first appointment went, here's what the notes were from the field trainer, here's the notes from the S&D. Is there going to be a master profile for each person so like it combines all of this into one page instead of us going to each different thing just to check?
So I kind of have a 2-part answer for you.
Okay.
So once I move someone to the next page, I'm not tracking them on any other
Yeah.
thing.
So it's just like it moves
So
from
it
one
doesn't
to the
really
next,
apply.
and
Yeah,
okay.
it moves to the next thing. Once they're on a blue card,
Mhm.
I'm putting them on filters or I'm putting them on production.
Okay.
I'm not tracking them on blue card anymore. I'm tracking them on filters. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I forgot the other part to my answer, but
But it's
that
two parts.
yeah, but I know there's 2 parts. That's the only part I can remember right now that I wanted to say to you. Okay, so that's it. You guys, any questions about the matchup?
When you do start moving that stuff, it all tracks back to the contact list, so if you pull up that person, you know what happened with that person.
That's going to be, when we launch the auto follow-up page, it's going to do that. So if you're
Okay.
not putting stuff in there, your data's not going to be synced up when we launch it. But if you're putting your info in there, I will make sure that everything is synced up.
Here's a note from Derek.
Oh, well, there's nothing we can do. They just keep coming.
No, but he's talking
Just for
what-
matchup?
about what-
He's answering the
He's
question.
answering-
Oh, did you ask him a question on
No.
here?
No, he's
No.
probably watching.
Charlie,
Derek.
Charlie asked a
Oh yeah,
question.
click on it. Let's see what he said. This is fun. We will probably work on allowing people to block their calendars later. Then the S&D will be able to see if/when they are available. In the meantime, the S&D can just add multiple trainers.
Yeah.
Thanks, Derek. That's pretty cool. Okay, so while we're on this right here, actually, this is how you get a hold of me. and my husband Derek, who's our
You guys are very interactive on this.
CTO. We like it. I mean,
Yeah.
we like to talk to the team. This is fast for us. I can only take one phone call at a time, but I can be talking to 12 different people at the same time on chat. So when you guys have an issue or even if you want to just say something good, I love BSC Pro, just message us right here. You have it available on the app and you can message us anytime and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Okay? Any other questions?
Well, how large is your team? Is it just you and your husband doing the programming?
We have about 8 people now.
Wow.
Yeah, so programmers, my husband, me. I have a girl, Mia, that helps me part-time. So yeah, it's just our little.
So all
our
these
little team.
updates that you're talking about will be fairly immediate then?
Yes, when I want to do an update, I'm serious about it. We try to do it as quickly as we can. We've come a long way in our short 2 years that we've been on. Okay, so let's move on to production.
So I had just one more question about calendar. That's mainly just for matchups then, is that correct?
Yes.
Because it's a matchup.
Yes, I would just use this for your matchups and your personal appointments, so your one-on-ones, your
Yeah.
fast start appointments, stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Alright, and your production?
Yeah. Okay, so adding production. We're not going to go to the app on this. We'll just show it on here. So this is another thing that you have available on the app. So if you're a field trainer, you should be using this. If your SMD uses BSC Pro, you should also be using this as well. If you're not, you're causing them stress. So when you write business, when you've actually closed business, your new business entry should be, you can put it in immediately, like in the car. Like when you close it, you're all excited, you're high-fiving your trainee, you're all pumped up. Go open up the app and put in the business. Okay? Date, client, first and last name, agents. So we allow you to select up to 2 agents. So at the top here. So it's either you or if it's a split, the other field will open up and you can select who the split agent was. The split agent is usually not with you on the appointment, sometimes they are. But you put in both names. You can select the trainee if it applies. If it doesn't, if there's no trainee, like that, just click none.
Sorry.
That's all right. Put none in there and then it says click here to add. So you can manually, so if someone's not in BSC Pro or if there's no trainee, you can add an entry manually. Does that make sense? This is important because if you're an unlicensed trainee, we still want to track your points for your gold badge, for any other promotions. We still want to know what points you have. The product name, if you wrote the business, you better know the name of the product and the product provider. So this is just a sample that we put in here in the light gray. AIR, you can skip that. Total points of the policy. So when you know the full, if you're a field trainer, if you're brand new, we'll catch you a little slack. But you should know the points of the policy that you've written. You should have done an illustration. You should already have calculated the points based on the product provider, the commission file. Sorry, this is a little advanced for the newer people, but just bear with me. You should already know the points. Put in the total points of the policy. You don't need to split it or work out any percentages. The software will do it for you. And we only do 50-50, so it's pretty simple.
So if the writing agent puts it in and the trainee puts it in, is there a duplication there or is there?
There will be a duplication. So I wouldn't have the trainee put it in because they usually don't know what they're doing when it comes to
What about the
business.
split?
If they're not the split agent, you can teach them how to do it, but the trainee
Only
shouldn't be
if they
putting
are a
it.
split agent, is
You
there a
would just add them
duplication?
as a split.
Yeah, add them as a split agent, but you put in the entry yourself
So
and
if you
show
both
your
put it
trainee
in,
how
it's
to
not
do it.
good?
Say that one more time.
If you both put it in.
You don't need to both put it in.
Okay.
Only one of you needs to put it in and it'll roll up. Does that make sense?
It'll roll down and put it to the trainee? Or the split?
It should, yes, it'll roll down to the trainee.
Okay.
So it'll just get added to their production tracker.
Should,
If
from
they're
a-
not on
from a
BSC
field
Pro, it's not
trainer-
gonna go
From a
anywhere.
field trainer's perspective, your training shouldn't be doing this,
Right.
only because you haven't taught them how to calculate points, all that other jazz, to do this stuff. So you as the field trainer that actually wrote the business is the one that's in charge of entering this information.
Right.
Understood?
That was the issue before, is we didn't think that, like, she's talking about instances where she and I went out, and she was a trainee, and I was a trainer,
And she was licensed or unlicensed?
not licensed.
Okay.
And she put it in, because I thought if I put it in, she wouldn't see it. Because I didn't
Probably
know
back
that-
when you did it, she probably wouldn't have at the time, but now she'll
was
be able
last
to see
week.
it.
It was last week.
Oh, well, you should be able to see it.
Okay.
You should be able to see the production.
Okay.
So
With the total
when you-
points,
Yeah, put in the total points. And
the
we'll-
total points for us.
The total points on the policy.
If the split agent, if the writing agent is, say I'm a trainee,
Mhm.
the writing agent's not in our hierarchy, is it
Mhm.
the total points going to Jamie, or is it the total points?
It'll give you, put in the total points of the policy. So put in some points right here.
So it'll be like, let's say you wrote a 5,000 point app.
It's gonna send 2,500 to you. 2,500 goes to that other person's tracker and the other
Jamie
hierarchy.
will only see 2,500. Okay.
Jamie's gonna see on her production, I'll show you, but she's gonna see
You
in,
see, I just added in I added in the split agent right now,
Uh-huh.
and then the total points, and then it says my points, and then
and
the
base shop points.
Okay, now, here's an issue. When we put ours in, we're mapped to Jamie.
We'll get to maps in a second.
Well, when we put our points in there, it always only shows 75% for us. It should show 100% for us,
Mhm.
75% for Jamie. But
We'll
it
get to
doesn't.
maps in a second, because our maps are working now.
Okay.
We didn't have maps built in yet when you first started using this. Chris?
I'm just thinking about base shop points when that's shown for my base shop points if I'm the writing agent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so let's go, I hope I have some production on there, but. And then in the notes here, yeah, so in the notes, you should have put something in there, like the meds have been scheduled for this date and this time. If you do a second appointment, you should have your medical exam scheduled.
Yeah.
That's pretty important. And then any other notes we need to know, put that in the notes and then add it to the tracker. And we'll just go to the tracker here, what time is it? Go back to the last month. And then minimize this. Come on, girl.
So not used to
Okay, so just a couple points on here. So if you're running your own base shop, you're gonna see who added the entry. This is really important because I need to know who actually made the entry, so I know who to keep accountable for what's going on with this business. So here it'll list the agents. In green, it tells you your personal points if it's someone else's points. Like if you're looking at your tracker, someone else's points will show up in gray. If someone's mapped to you or mapped away from you, their points are also going to show up in gray. So you're going to still see the mapped points.
Oh look, Derek just sent us
Oh, what did he say? Wait, don't show that part yet. We'll show that after. Oh, that's, he can hear you. We're going to go over that in a second.
Okay.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. So it'll show the total points of the policy that you put in, and it'll show, because some people just want to refer back and know what was the total points, and then the base shop points. And up here it'll show your base shop total. So advanced. So this is a lot of documentation. So if you're a licensed agent, even if you're brand new, when I was new, I wanted to learn as much as I could about how to get myself paid. So when you're using this, I would just document as much as you can, even if you don't know yet what you're talking about, because sometimes the base shop coordinator might be busy. Maybe they haven't got to your policy yet, but you can log in on Transact, or you can log into your Pacific Life or whatever and see what's going on, and you can start putting stuff in the notes. I called the client today, I called product provider today, and I faxed this in, or I sent them this, and you can document what's going on with your policy. So for production, I just tracked the money on here. All I was making sure is that all I was checking was to make sure that the commission was right, and that the commission was right, and that it came in on time. So if business is written in July, I want that business to hit the commission cycle in July. So it was not okay for me to, if business is written right now, it's not okay if the business if you don't get paid until, what's after July? August. That's not okay for me. And that shouldn't be okay with you either. You want to get paid in the month that you wrote the business. And this will allow you to do that if you're on the ball. So, the advanced column. So I would just put here in the notes, and you can do the notes any way you want to. I'll just tell you what I did, and this was effective for me. Some people aren't as detailed as me, but that's okay. So I put the date that I saw that WFG paid, the product provider paid WFG. So I know the money is on its way. I put that date. And then the next date I put is when I see the commission actually hit for that policy. So once I see it on the commission statement on my WFG, I change the date here. I check the points, like I'll run an illustration, I'll make sure that the target's correct, that the agent got paid correctly, the correct amount of points, and then I'll put the date again and I'll check paid one. That just means that everything's correct. So when I see the little paid one checkbox, I know that I don't need to worry about it. Commission's right, I can move on with my life. And now I'm just gonna make sure the policy gets issued. Notes here, they work the same. Emil, will you click on the little note thing? The little, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah. We didn't have, oh my gosh, it's amazing. You guys, this is
major.
life-changing. So, the notes are all documented the same, like we explained to you how they work. You just add a note. We know who made the note. We know what the note was about, and that is a game changer because like I said, you're sharing the same set of books, and we don't want redundancies. I don't want to be making a phone call that Grace already made 10 minutes ago. Sometimes you're at work and you're like, hey, I'm going to call Transamerica really quick on my lunch break, but you can check in on BSC Pro and see, oh, Grace already called about this motor vehicle report or whatever, so I'm going to call about the next line that we need to get done.
We can see this on our phones.
You can see it on your phone if you log in on the internet on your phone. You're not going to see it on the app. It's too much.
Remember, app is for input.
The app is for input only right now. But on your phone, it's very, very small on your phone, but in a pinch, if you absolutely need to log in, go on Google Chrome on your phone and you can see it. It's just going to be tiny, or on your tablet. This is just the easiest way to see it. So I'll go ahead and close that out.
Okay.
But this is where you're going to be working off your notes most of the time. And then pay 2, I just put the date that the second advance came through. Because that's a big chunk of money. What is it now? When you get second? Is it
60.
60? That's a big chunk of money. So, yeah, so you want to make sure that that's all accurate. And I was checking this every single day, by the way. Every day I carved out time. If you don't have time, just schedule it in your appointment book of when your production time, of time for you to call product providers, call people, check on this and see what Grace has put in here for you, and then update her about stuff. If you're making phone calls, don't just wait around for the base shop coordinator to do stuff for you. Like Jamie has someone on staff full time, a lot of the SMDs have someone on staff full time, but if they don't, that's up to you to make sure that you're getting paid. I wouldn't, and I never did really wait around. Rusty was my SMD. I didn't wait around for him to tell me what was going on with my policies. I knew what was going on with my policies at all times. I knew when they were coming in. I knew when they arrived at the office, I was in charge of delivering them on my own. I did it all because they taught me how to do it, and then I just went and did it. So that's up to you how fast you want to go, how fast you want to build your business. Okay, so let's go to persistency. So when you make an entry on production, it automatically rolls over to your persistency. So your persistency, for those of you that don't know, that is just making sure your business sticks on the books. So making sure that the policy that you've written actually gets issued, you get a physical policy, and it gets delivered to the client. Ooh, that's a lot of pink. Change those, I don't like that. Yeah, so this is your persistency page. So this is, like I said, I'm making sure the policy gets issued. So there should be a lot of notes going on this page. Everything just rolls over. You can put in the policy over here once you get it. Neil, click in the box.
On which one, Britt?
Policy number.
Oh.
So if you just click in the box, it'll open up the field and you can type in there. We wanted to make it really easy to add notes. So you just click anywhere and it opens up the field and you can just change the notes. Okay? Your product will show up there. So this is important. We have all this information here because when you're making a phone call to a product provider, you need to know the policy number, you need to know the client's name. That's those are the questions that they ask you, so we make sure that it's all right here. So you don't have to go back to production, check on the client's name and when the business is written and all that stuff. It's already right here.
And specifying the color coding, we can sort by color coding too. So when you're doing the follow-up, specifically you can do for when we were for me, when I was running the base shop, we literally had a binder, and we still do, somewhere hidden out there. It was a binder. It literally had about 20 pages, and it just looked like this, a bunch of Excel.
Exactly like this.
And it was just highlighted. So we would have to flip through every single page to find what was still pending, because when it's yellow, it's already been issued. When it's green, I already got paid. When it's pink, it's already got declined or whatever. So when I'm calling to do follow-up, or when you're calling to do follow-up, it's easiest when you can just sort it by just pending. So you click on pending, and it'll sort it all, or at least it should.
This is my test account,
Oh yeah.
so I have a bunch of random stuff in here.
So it'll sort it all by the by all the pending.
Yeah, so I would put by like my, oh yeah, my pending. Yeah, this is just because mine, I have a bunch of random stuff on here
Yeah.
that I'm always testing. But on yours, it'll sort out all your pending
It'll sort
stuff.
it all. Yeah.
So just everything that's white, well, gray, white, and, or yellow will pop up.
So everybody has the same colors for what?
And yeah, everyone's working off the same color coding system. So everybody in BSC Pro, whether they're in our hierarchy or not, because sometimes you write business with people outside the hierarchy, but they're all using the same color coding system here. They don't really have a choice. That's just how we built it.
And
So.
where do you know what colors to do?
Right here up at the top left corner right here.
On the top left, see there's a little legend up here.
Oh, okay.
And then also, if you click on the highlighter itself, click on that, Neil. It tells you what color you're on.
Oh, okay.
Or what it means.
Okay.
Okay? So you kind of just learn as you go.
I have a color blind issue and stuff.
Okay.
So,
Then you would use the labels.
The
So you
labels.
click through. Click it again. So you just click through. When you see the label, you'll know you're on
Okay.
the right color.
okay, okay.
Okay. So meds. So there should instantly be something in there about when the meds were scheduled for. And then once you get the barcode should go in there. I know this is very detailed, but this is important, and this is the stuff that gets the business issued.
Yep.
Account notes. So I was updating this every single day. No joke, every single day. So sometimes I would call the product provider before the product provider even knew what was going on, and I would call too early. So you want to be on top of it to that extent, that you know what's going on before they even realize what's happening. Your notes are also tracked the same way. So click on the little note field now. So your last note that was put in here, it'll say last note. So the notes again are the same. So whoever you're sharing the book. So let's say it's Grace in your guys' base shop. She's updating the notes here all the time. So you, as a licensed agent now, can add in the notes yourself. It's crazy, I know. You can add in the notes yourself, and Grace is going to see what's been done. So she's not doing double work. You're not doing double work. You're also not wondering what's going on with your policy.
Blew my mind
You
right
can look
there.
here. You can look here at any time with any of your policies, and I know Grace is doing her job, so you can look in at any time and see what's going on with your policy. You can just log into one place because she'll have the notes in there already. And if something doesn't make sense, you can ask her. It's a learning tool also. You can kind of learn as you go. That's what we all have to do. So the newest note goes here, right? You can see it on this part of the page, and then anything following will show up in there. Close that out. But it's so cool. Okay, given. I put the date that the policy that I gave the policy to the agent, and I give him 2
What
weeks.
does given mean?
Given means the date I gave the policy to the agent.
Just so we're all clear, webinar. Because we
Yeah.
keep getting calls.
I know, yeah, we get calls about it because it's very detailed. So,
Yeah.
given is the date I gave that policy to the agent. I put it in their hands.
The agent.
So when a policy it's been issued, I get the little red folder. Transamerica, something comes in. I say, hey Jack, here's your policy. The date I handed it to Jack, I no longer need to deal with it. It's Jack's responsibility. I document it because I want to know that I'm tracking when Jack delivered it. And if Jack has a pattern of taking 3 to 4 weeks to deliver policies, we're gonna have a conversation about it. But I know I gave you the policy on this date. It's that
So that's the
serious.
date you gave it to him. How do you know when he gave it to the?
I'm gonna follow up with him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'll go, oh, this was a week ago. Also, I'm going to put notifications in here. So at a week's time, let's say you put in a date for today. In a week, soon, we'll have a notification that says, hey, Jack hasn't delivered this policy yet.
And
It's
so
been a
there's
week.
a place where he can put in that he delivered it.
Yeah, he would just put it in the account notes, and he could also highlight it green.
Highlight
Or
green.
not highlight green, that's not till second advance, but
No, he would put
He put it in the
PDR
notes.
delivery date.
Yeah, wouldn't I?
that's what I meant, sorry. Yeah, he would put in the PDR delivery date.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
And again, this was something I was doing on paper, and it wasn't always easy. But now at least you're sharing the same set of books, and you can share this information easily with each other.
How about the delivery receipts? How's that working? Now, do we have to give them back, is it,
Still give them to Grace, is my understanding.
You still give them to Grace?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my
At least
understanding
that
of it was.
Changed.
so that date is gonna be the date I put in there I delivered, not the date I gave her that receipt?
Yeah.
Yes, the date you actually delivered it, not the date you finally got around to giving it to Grace.
Derek's answering the question.
Oh, click on Derek's comment. This is so funny. You can chiming in. And we will also be able to generate a report to see what Jack's average delivery time is. Yeah, that was important to me. That was something I couldn't generate just on my own little brain power because there were so many agents, but I wanted to know like who has the best average of turning in their policies because those are the people getting paid.
Yeah.
Chris?
Brittany, so, you know how you said there'll be alerts that says, you know, it's been 2 weeks or something like that, and that'll go to whom? Who will that go to?
That's going to go to you, and it's going to go to the SMD.
Okay.
And then pay 2, you just put in the date again. We're probably going to merge this field with the pay 2 on the production, so you don't have to do it twice. Just a little thing. Okay, documents. So under action, on the far right, Neil, there's an upload button. So you can upload documents. Now, disclaimer. I wouldn't upload anything that is going to be a compliance issue. So like if it's very personal, like the social security number and their home address and name and phone, all that stuff, I wouldn't upload like the first page of your policy right there.
I wouldn't upload. I would not upload, and I'm specifying, absolutely do not upload a copy of the application on here.
Yes.
Do not.
I was giving you a specific example because I know on the first page it has all the stuff. Don't put a copy of the policy right there. I just mean I can't even think of an example, but sometimes there's documents that go along with your policy or things that you need to get from a client that can go there that are not very specific, that no one, if someone were to hack in and see it, they couldn't do anything with it really.
What's the purpose of uploading it in here?
So you have it attached to your policy. So you just have it on file.
If not, you just have a bunch of papers scattered
Papers
all
everywhere.
You've got
Because I had files for every client, and so it just got to be a lot. So now you can have them stored electronically.
Yep.
I still wouldn't put the app though there
Ever.
until I can get approved.
That goes same for the webinar.
Same
guys.
for webinar people, yeah.
Everybody on the webinar.
Everybody, don't upload your policies here.
So as an example, I just had a client that changed from a 30-year term to a 10-year,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to fill out the supplemental form for that. That would be an example.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
But
Thank
that's-
you.
That's got personal information.
No, it doesn't.
No, that page doesn't.
None.
Or if they need a HIPAA signature or something, just like signature pages and you
Yeah,
grab
signature
that.
pages, little stuff like that. No one can do anything with that really.
So you're advocating, when we keep a file on somebody, we keep certain information on them in our physical file. You're advocating using this instead of that.
Not advocating.
No.
It's just an option.
Yeah, I'm advocating using both. Because the file, I'm coming from a perspective of running a very large base shop. And I know that when you're doing compliance stuff, there's certain rules and regulations.
And
that's why we say don't
and
upload an app.
also here, like when I was running the base shop and having to maintain all those files, once I got a driver's license fax to the company, you know, for example, if they needed a copy of the driver's license, I keep it in there temporarily until I confirmed they received it. Once I was done, it's shredded.
For the kind of thing.
Technically, shouldn't be keeping client files now because everything's on iGo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, but you know, you got people on your team, and we have a file on everybody on the team that shows when they joined, certain information that from time to time we need to know about, including what kind of business they did and everything.
Not everybody has a file like
Not
that.
everybody has that. That's
Not
not
everybody.
that's not duplicating.
You're a very small percentage of
That's-
people
yeah.
that do that. Promise. You're keeping it tight, and that's good.
That's
But
very
most
good.
people don't do that. Just letting you know. You're special, Jack. In a good way.
Jack's a stud.
You are. You really are. Okay. Chargeback. So we get questions about this. So, and the action button, there's a chargeback button here. I don't like to use this, but we have to. Here's why it's important. Sometimes business can be rewritten. So if a client, let's say you wrote the business and maybe they went out of town for a month and the policy drops and it's incomplete, you have to rewrite that policy, let's say. You want to know that it wasn't dropped for just any old random reason. Like they don't like the product, they don't like you, they don't blah, blah, blah. We want to know, oh, they went out of town, the policy dropped, so now because there's an emergency or something, but we can go back and rewrite it. So you want to keep track of policies that charge back or drop or incomplete, whatever, and you also want to know the reason. So that was huge for me. I would spend time with Jamie. We would go through just our chargebacks so we could see which policies could be rewritten. And then I would tell the agent, hey, I would call the agent and say, hey, can you rewrite this policy? And it would also help me track patterns with agents. So some agents you'll find maybe have a lot of SMDs. You might have a lot of an agent that tends to drop a lot of policies. So if you're not tracking that, you're not picking up the patterns with these people. So you want to know, like, oh, maybe someone's in a bad market. All their clients are 19, 20, 22 years old. All their policies drop. Or the client is never home. Like, all their clients are, like, mysteriously never home, and all their policies drop. Like, what's going on? So that helps you to track patterns. Again, you're running a business, so you need to know where the holes are with your business. You need to know who's the weak link, and then you can have a conversation with those agents. Okay, Neil, anything you want to add to persistency? I think we pretty much covered it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll get tighter with updates and all that.
Yeah,
stuff,
it's just
but
going to keep getting better.
Yeah.
Is all. Who tracks the chargeback then?
You should.
Yeah, you
as
should.
the agent.
Okay.
You
You should be knowing every
Because I had a
single
marathon
time.
runner who came
an
back with a
application
med
gets
request
charged
was too
back.
high, so
Just keep in mind, you guys. Once you guys are doing, once you guys
add
are,
that in?
you guys
Yeah.
are all
Is
business
that
owners.
a note button?
What?
Yeah, the minute you have pertinent information, add it here.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't wait for it. I never waited for anything to show up online or for, like.
Okay, so it's not just a click, that there's a chargeback, there's a notes section on it.
Yeah, well, the notes get transferred over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you click on the notes over there, or do you click on the charge?
You can click on the notes here. Go ahead, Neil, do it. Or maybe you can just go to the notes.
So you
So
see how it changed,
highlights
it pinged
pink.
it, and it moves it. It keeps it on here, but it moves it to a separate chargebacks list.
Right. So I would update the notes. So I know the last note, if it's pink, the last note should be about why it's pink.
Okay.
So if you know, the minute you know, put it in there. Basically what I'm trying to say is don't wait for any product provider, don't wait for your base shop coordinator, do not wait for your S&D to tell you what's going
Something
on
like
with your
that.
policy.
That's what I would have done if that was me.
Right, that's exactly what I put as an example. So I know, when I see pink, I go right to the account notes, I want to know why it's pink.
Okay.
And that's every single individual. It's not waiting on the big shop coordinator or anything like that. Like, all of you guys should be running.
That was just our culture.
That was
Like, we
just-
didn't have a choice.
Like,
we
you're a
just didn't
business owner.
wait.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to wait on someone else and find out why this charged back, or I would not even want it to charge back. So I'm doing that constantly.
Yeah, and that also
Daily.
Right, and that also from a billing perspective becomes part of your reputation. If people know that you handle your business well and you get policies issued and on time, and you're a really good field trainer, you get more matchups, and you get more matchups means you're making more money. That's awesome. You get more fast starts. You get more. That's more business you get to write. So it all these things, even though this is like technical stuff, this is getting you paid, and it becomes a part of your reputation. We matched up with trainers we matched up with the trainers that we knew were recruiting, and we knew that could close business and that would get the policies issued. If we knew an agent wasn't doing that, they were lazy about if they had a stack of policies in their office, we didn't match up with them because we knew they weren't doing what they needed to do, which hurts the trainee also. Did you have a question in the back? No? Oh, was it you?
I'll ask later.
Okay. If it's really specific, just ask me later. Okay. All right. So just a couple more things here. Go down to licensing.
Okay.
It's right below persistency.
Licensing tracker or timeline?
Go to timeline first. Okay, so we're about to change the style of this, but if you're an unlicensed person or when you have unlicensed people, this is available to them like right now. If they create an account for free, they can get on this. You don't have to explain to them the whole licensing process. You can have them use this timeline. and it syncs up with the licensing coordinator. I'll just use Grace as an example. It'll link up with Grace's licensing tracker. So as they're checking things off, if they're getting stuff done, it's a team effort. Getting someone licensed sometimes is a team effort. Not everybody can just like go study on their own and get licensed. Sometimes they need a little help. So they can use this timeline. It just takes them through each box of what to do, and they just check off what's going on. We put links in here. We put just the pertinent information about how to get licensed, all the way through getting them appointed.
So if they're like somewhere around step 4 or 5, they can go ahead and get in here right now?
Yeah, they can. Yeah, if you're somewhere in the middle, you can go in here and check off what's already been done, and just keep on going. And we're gonna work on this so each of these fields is more isolated, so you're not seeing like a whole long thing. Just to make it even simpler for your new people. But the bottom line is I don't want to have the SMDs or leadership having to spend time teaching people how to get licensed. It should be an automatic thing where we can go, hey, go on BSC Pro. It's a really simple process. You can get on here and get licensed and get appointed. And we just kept it to the most basic information as possible. And as things update or things change, maybe the prices change, maybe the location of where to get fingerprints change, that will really come with your guys' help. So if something changes and is not accurate on here, let us know in that little chat thing and we can update things, because I want things to be updated always.
Is there a role for a licensing coordinator that this can roll up to, or how does that get determined?
I don't quite
So right
understand.
now, remember how you said right now there's a roll up to Grace so she can see where everyone is?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a specific role within her base shop that we can assign to see that? Or does that just go to the SMD?
You mean, is there someone you can assign to like specially log in and do this?
Yeah, no, not necessarily to do it, but to track all the agents that are in licensing.
Yes.
Yes.
So on the licensing tracker. So these little check boxes here that get checked off for the particular agent, it all gets merged here.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Kind of, sort of, but so who see, anyone
The
can see
SMD, the
it?
SMD sees this, yeah. So the unlicensed person sees that timeline.
Mhm.
The SMD sees everybody in the base shop.
Is this going to be also with like the 663 and 65 as well?
We'll get there. We're not there yet,
Eventually,
but
we're trying to
eventually
keep
we'll
it
get there.
simple for
Because
now.
then after this, we're building in notifications for this. So alerting the SMDs, oh, this person signed up for the 52 hours, this person scheduled their exam, this person took their test and passed, this person failed, this person rescheduled their exam, because we want to know some of you guys reschedule forever. But after that, we have to work on the states. So each state has different requirements.
Yeah.
So we're working on that next.
And
And then eventually we'll get to the other licenses.
only the SMDs can see this summary?
Yeah. Eventually, you might be able to see it on yours, but I'll double check.
Can they assign it to, like you said, share their site, they can assign it to an assistant?
Yes, if you add an
Here's
assistant.
another note from Derek.
Oh, yeah, that's just what I was going to say. You can click on what he said. Thanks, Derek. You can add your licensing coordinator as an authorized user, but we don't have the ability to give them access only to the licensing tracker yet.
You can see your own too, because this would have been nice at the beginning. I came
Yeah.
in with my license, didn't know I needed the LTC.
The other stuff, yeah.
I was wondering if Jamie or Grace, whoever could assign Pam to be the person that's watching this for her team.
Yeah, you can assign anybody, like verbally, you can tell them and say, I've added you as an authorized user. Here's where you go to track the licensing. Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
But then you'd see the entire base shop. You wouldn't see just his team, right?
Then you'd see the entire base shop, that's correct. But I'll check, Derek can check for us, to see if the MDs can see just their downlines. Because first we had to get your captain's list and your production and all that for the MDs and SAs. And so we'll get to this. Eventually you'll have most of the same stuff that the SMDs have. Did that answer your question, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So that is pretty much it. I mean, this is really, I don't want to say basic, because if you're new, this is not basic, but your licensing coordinator can help push you through the process, because they know what to do. So I'm not even going to get into that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Neil, do you want to cover?
Derek.
Oh, let's see what Derek said. He's like our surprise guest. You will soon be able to see any of your downlines. I think an SA and MD can. Yeah, I think so too. I just need to click on it myself to confirm, but we'll check after this. the organization page. That's what we need to go to. That's the last thing. We won't cover big events today. But my organization. So, if you're an SMD or a senior associate MD, you can when your team creates an account, they automatically get added to the My Organization page. So this is where the org chart's gonna go. So if you're new, you don't really know what an org chart is. It's basically like the little circles. You might have seen someone draw like their name, put their name in the middle with a circle. That's what an org chart is. So that's where this is gonna go. This is where this is gonna be eventually. But now it just lists everyone that's on BSC Pro and that has said this person is my upline. So they get added to your team roster essentially. Okay, and then also this is where you can signify if you're a match person or not. So if you're new and you don't know, your SMD can go in and click the little map next to your name and say who you're mapped from. And then on production, with the exception of you guys, it's going to show the correct production for your mapped person on your production tracker. Okay, so that's where you would do that from. And that's pretty simple. So if someone goes inactive, you can unstar them, and they get moved to the inactive list on your team roster. At the very bottom, there's an inactive list. Oop. You just click that, and it shows you everybody that's inactive. Because people come and go sometimes, so when they become active again, you star them, and they get added back to your active roster. And we're going to do a lot with this. I'm going to play around a lot with this.
This is based only on who's signed up for BSC Pro.
Correct. But soon we're going to do a lot more with it. So, and that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any other questions? Any general questions that I didn't cover?
Can we elect to use just BSC Pro? Since I'm new, can I just use it, or do I have to use 2 duplicate systems?
What does your SMD use?
I don't know. I have to find out.
Then you can just use BSC Pro.
Okay.
And get them on it if you don't know.
Okay. How do I download the app for the phone?
So you would go to, do you have an iPhone?
No, it's
Is that
a
a
Galaxy
Samsung?
8.
Okay, so you would go to that's the Google Play Store,
Yeah.
I think. So you'd go there, go to Google Play, and then you would search BSC Pro. Stands for Base Shop Coordinator Pro. You'll see our little black and white icon.
Okay,
You'll see my
and I can
picture.
download there.
And you can download it from there.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. Any other questions? No?
Yeah,
Chris?
So I
Go back to the
with this
dashboard.
roster before.
Oh, never mind.
No, right there.
Shoot, sorry.
I tried to
Sorry.
never mind. That's okay. I remember. I tried to update those icons and stuff. Only the SME can update them. Is that the case?
You should be able to as well. Were you not able to?
I wasn't, but it was a while ago, so it may have been updated.
Yeah, it's been
Okay.
updated since then. If
Okay.
it was a while ago.
Okay.
If not, just get with me and I can show you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Well, you guys have been fun. Thank you. You've been a good audience. A lot of good questions. Thank you guys, whoever's on the webinar. We're going to do another one of these soon, probably in a couple of weeks. So we'll try to get the message out sooner so everyone can be on there, and I'll do another training, and we're going to go over everything. I went over a lot, but there's even more stuff than this. So, yeah, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it.